While I think that it could be possible for Solana to take another dip below $100 in the short term, possibly with the tariff fears, I strongly believe that a $1,000 Solana is inevitable. That's a lot of upside from here, almost a 10x from current prices for Solana. And I do believe that Solana could 10x. We've got some news coming out in the crypto industry. Let's talk about the SEC pick that is actually going to be confirmed as the new head of the SEC from the Trump administration, how this could enhance Solana's pumpability. I'm going to give you the specifics on why. Let's also talk about some predictions that are coming out about Solana, not from me, from the market, from actually the poly market, and talking about some odds of the future price of Solana, whether or not Solana will reach an all-time high before 2026. Let's talk about the percentage changes on that. Let's talk about a couple of these odds, like if the ETF is going to get approved before July 31st. What do you guys think? Let me know in the comments down below. I'm going to share it with you guys in this video. Talk about that $1,000 Solana and also why we might get a dip below $100 to give you a moment of accumulation. In addition to this extended period of time of accumulation we've had lately, let me be very clear. I think these are great times for accumulation for crypto. Could we see lower prices? I'm looking at 70K for Bitcoin. We're currently sitting at 82. We could come down. We don't have to. Maybe these tariff things are going to get resolved. There's a lot of uncertainty though. So again, dollar cost averaging is my play. Let's get into the news, guys. Welcome back to the Crypto Report. I'm Crypto Kip. Smash the like, subscribe to the channel. Please remember, nothing's financial advice, guys, but let's get into it and talk about a couple of these things. So I'm going to start right out of the gates with this. If you look at the poly market and you go to the crypto category and you look at the Solana category, there are a couple very, very interesting odds going on right now. Like, first of all, will a Solana ETF be approved in 2025? There is a whopping 81% chance that it will, and I do agree. I think that it will. But what's crazy to me is even though speculators believe that there is an 81% chance that the Solana ETF is going to be approved in 2025, there is a only 16% chance, if you look over here, that the same speculators, I guess, believe that there is going to be a new all-time high for Solana before 2026. So then, are we going to have a new all-time high in 2026 would be kind of the natural question. Well, if we don't get an all-time high in 2025, 2026 all-time highs would be very different. That would be a longer bull cycle than we've ever seen before. We have seen some executives come out and say this is going to be different. These bull markets are going to just kind of, the 4-year cycles are over as we know them. It kind of just more consistent up over time, I guess, though we've had a really big lull with the new administration, with the tariff fears, with the inflation problems. And our altcoin season has been cut short. Now, Solana had one of the best performances out there, but I do believe that Solana should hit an all-time high before 2026, and I would disagree with this as long as inflation and the Fed don't hurt us. And if we don't get rate cuts, then it might be difficult. And then maybe we do kind of have some kind of different cycle. Maybe the 4-year cycles are over at that point, but only at that point will I start to kind of concede that. I really believe in these 4-year cycles. It's all we have to go off of until we don't, and we've always seen it play out the same. But I want to talk about, why do people believe the Solana ETF is going to be approved in 2025? Well, people believed it was going to be approved because of the new president, because, we saw Bitcoin, obviously, then we saw Ethereum get approved, and it's only a matter of time before Solana and even Dogecoin and some of these others come out. But we've got the U.S. Senate confirming Trump's pick to be the Wall Street regulator. The new SEC chair, Paul Atkins, is officially confirmed, and he is actually going to take his role and actually start acting as the head of the SEC in really a matter of days. Now, this news alone could be enough for potentially a pump. Maybe this is part of the reason that crypto's coming up here over the last day or so. Bitcoin's at like 82K right now. We just take a peek at the crypto markets. You're going to see Bitcoin's up 5% today. Ethereum's up 5% today. Solana's up 10% today, up to $120. Maybe because this SEC chair actually just got confirmed. And once this guy gets confirmed, when he gets into office, here are the catalysts to drive us to that $1,000 price level. And maybe relatively quickly, maybe getting this bull market back on track, potentially, as long as the tariffs and inflation don't hurt us, right? And the Fed rate cuts, or the Fed rate pauses, should I say. If this man actually gets into office and then starts dismissing like the Ripple case and starts just approving the ETFs, there's a world where all of a sudden the ETFs could get approved a little more quickly because of this guy. Now, realistically, government takes a while. I wouldn't be surprised if even Paul, even though he's a pro-crypto guy, took a lot of runway to approve these ETFs. But I also really wouldn't be surprised if Trump was just like nudging Paul, like, all right, Paul, you're gonna approve those ETFs. You're gonna make that Solana ETF. You know, Donald Trump clearly likes Solana. He launched a meme coin on Solana. People clearly like Solana. We've got a lot of companies focused on getting a Solana strategic reserve. Here we got a new story coming out, crypto-focused Janiver, I don't know how to say it, skyrockets after completing its first Solana purchase. So a small software company with a new focus on accumulating crypto for its treasury is surging after completing its first purchase of the Solana token. And so the stock price shot up of this thing after it was announced that they were buying Solana. Why? Because people are bullish on Solana. I have a hard time getting behind the idea that Solana is not going to hit a new all-time high in 2025, just as I have a hard time believing that the 4-year cycles are over. I think that the 4-year cycles are all we have. Now, why am I talking about Solana going back down below $100 again? Well, because, guys, I do want to consider the possibility of Bitcoin revisiting some previous levels of very strong support. Since we've had these wicks, there's not really a ton of support at the bottom of this wick. I'm looking for more support for Bitcoin at like 71K, possibly even 61K. And if Bitcoin comes down to 71K or 65K, did I say 61? I meant 65. 71K or 65K. If Bitcoin comes down to 71 or 65K, then we're probably going to see Solana fall below $100 again. And if you get an opportunity to buy Solana below $100, that is a gift. I think one day, inevitably, Solana will be well above $1,000 into the future. Solana is probably it's definitely the most popular blockchain out there. It's even more popular than Ethereum, which is the queen to the king that is Bitcoin. But honestly, a lot of people are saying that one day Solana could flip Ethereum, and I'm kind of in that boat. You know, the president launched a meme coin on Solana, not on Ethereum. Now, that's not the only thing you go off of, but looking at the DeFi metrics, looking at the cost of doing business on Ethereum versus Solana, looking at the transaction speeds, Solana's a better option. Solana does have blackouts on the network, so it's still some room for improvements in that regard, but it is the most promising blockchain in terms of mass adoption and user interface that is friendly, that people like. That's the update I have for you today, guys. I'm bullish in the long term on crypto. In the short term, you might get an accumulation zone below $100 for Solana. I still think these are great accumulation opportunities for Solana, and I think there will be a ton more. That's all I have in this one, guys. I'm Crypto Kip. This is the Crypto Report. Smash a like, subscribe to the channel. If you want to do some trading of your own, you could sign up for Blowfin using the link I have pinned in the description in the comments down below. Up to a $5,000 deposit bonus when you sign up using our link if you want to check it out, guys. Until next time, 2 videos here if you want to check them out. Peace, guys. See you later. Have a great weekend.